Saturday, and it's time for Boots, Bats and Balls.
You're listening to the best local sports show. Boots, Bats and Balls on Six Towns Radio.
I know I'm not invisible, I'm surely not all there.
Boots, Bats and Balls is sponsored by Appetite Stoke. Their aim is to get more people from Stoke-on-Trent to experience and be inspired by the arts. Visit www.appetitestoke.co.uk.
Boots, Bats and Balls. Coming up on today's show,
we've got your great mix of local sport, as ever. We've got a special guest in the studio today. We've got Robin van der Laan, ex-Port Vale, now running the Robin van der Laan Academy at Newcastle Town. We'll be talking all things Stoke City later as they take on Sunderland at the Bet365 Stadium in a must-win game for them, as everyone's saying. Covering Port Vale with Dan later in the show as they take on Sheffield United. We'll be talking all the other local sports as well. We'll be covering darts, boxing. We'll do a bit of speedway with Dave. In the studio, we're joined by Robin van der Laan. Morning, Robin. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, fine. Thank you for coming in, mate. Thank you for coming in. Pleasure to have you here again. The reason we got you in, we wanted to talk about your academy, because we talked about it last year when you were just on the cusp of getting it going.
Yeah.
How's things going?
Yeah, it's going very well. Obviously, Gavin and I came in last year, talked about it. Always a little bit of a struggle the first year with regards to getting it out there and people knowing that you're going to do it, especially because there's so many people doing different courses. But we started really well. We're looking to recruit sort of 8 to 10 players each year. So it's not a massive amount, but we started well with small classroom sizes, which is great for the kids. And the football, we're working on the pitch at Row Lane every day or 4 days a week. It's going really well. The players have really taken to it.
So just as a potential youngster coming in, what would their typical week be like?
At this moment in time, we've got Mondays as Mondays off.
Yeah.
Because we know that the players not only play with us during the day and on a Wednesday, they also play on the weekend, and they train with their own teams as well. So they're doing a lot of football. So normally Mondays we have a day off. Tuesdays a training session. We do mornings classroom, afternoons training with myself. Wednesdays we play football games at the stadium. So our home games are all at the stadium. Unless there's a busy programme that week.
So that's Newcastle Town Stadium.
At Newcastle Town Stadium, which is obviously one of the best pitches in the area, which is great for the players. Good experience. Thursday is usually a recovery session on the pitch. Our gym will be ready as well over the next holiday period. So we're going to have a gym, our own private gym that we could use for recovery sessions. And then Friday morning we do a session on the field again. Obviously classroom on the same days as well. So they work the classroom, the BTEC Sports Performance course that we do, as well as some extra English and maths for the kids that need it.
Yes. So you're sporting the basic skills really, as well as their football skills.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is great. And your first intake then, that's happened. 8 to 10 lads you've got, you say?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's been it's been really positive. We've had Martin Foyle and Mark Grew come in, do a session or two. Obviously, I'm still international head coach for Manchester United, so occasionally I have to travel the world, and it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. So at that time, I ask for guest coaches to come in, and like I said, Martin and Mark Grew have come in and have done sessions in the past, and that will continue if their schedule allows it. So they've enjoyed it. We've enjoyed having them, and it's a great experience for the kids because there's so much experience, on the training field.
Do the kids know these players, or are they sort of?
Yeah, they're old enough. You know, I think Mark and Martin are quite happy for me to say that the kids are old enough to remember them.
Yeah.
They just remember them as well because they've been so heavily involved with Port Vale in recent history.
Yeah.
So probably more as managers and goalkeeping coaches and assistant managers rather than, you know, them seeing them play on the pitch.
Yeah, they're not too young to think, oh, who are these guys?
No, exactly. And they bring a lot of quality and experience.
Exactly, mate. And that, again, it's a change for the player as well, isn't it? You know what I mean? Not listening to without wishing to sound horrible, but the same voice. You know, I think mixing these up quite a bit for...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first 2 weeks, you know, obviously you want to make a good impression straight away, and you know the kids are coming in; they don't know exactly what to expect, and you know the first couple of weeks, you know, coaching-wise, they had myself and Martin and Mark grew all within the first 2 weeks. You know, I don't think that's something that many academies are offering. Three ex-professionals with so much experience to tap into that for the players is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, yeah. You mentioned then you're an international coach for Man United.
Yeah.
Just tell us a little about that role and what that involves.
Yeah, I've been involved with Manchester United for 12 years now. Part of the reason I went to Canada is because I ran I was international head coach there for Canada for Manchester United. But it's basically a role that sees me travel the world. I mean, this year I've already been to Vietnam and Saudi Arabia and India. It's places where you normally don't go. Sometimes it's in a scouting capacity. Sometimes it's coaching, pay-as-you-play programs. And sometimes it's working with sponsors. So it's really doing grassroots programs with the sponsors, or assisting in high-profile tournaments, or coaching the teams that play in the tournaments. It's a good variety within that role. Yeah.
So is that just you drop in and there's a team there, and then you'll do some coaching with that team as a guest coach, like you use Martin and Mark?
It can be. I mean, when we went to Saudi Arabia, we went to 3 different cities. We had to pick 18 players, so 6 per city, to represent Manchester United. We brought these 18 players over to Manchester. Yeah. Then we coached them in Manchester for a week. Real Madrid were there at the same time. They did the same thing. And then we played at Old Trafford. So we managed the team at Old Trafford against Real Madrid on the pitch, you know, at the stadium. So, which is a heavily sponsored program, which was sponsored by Saudi Telecom. But it's a variety of programs like that, which is obviously fantastic for the kids.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, the opportunity to do that, play against Real Madrid, and
it's unreal. I mean, they were the Saudi kids that Real Madrid picked, and the Saudi kids that Man United picked, but it was all paid for by Saudi Telecom. Fantastic experience. We played on the pitch in August, just after the Wayne Rooney testimonial. Now, in the 12 years that I've been at the club, nobody gets on the pitch in August, so they must be really good sponsors for sure.
Yes, they need looking after, they do.
Yeah.
So in terms of Vietnam, because that sounds probably not the most advanced country, you'd think, what were you doing over there?
Vietnam, we went to Hanoi. There was an national tournament, a 7-a-side tournament, which was run before we came out. The finals were in Hanoi. There were 8 teams in Hanoi. We were coaching the teams there after their games, extra coaching. We did some coach education. And some general you know, chats and information to give to the players for them to get better, just to have the experience. Dennis Irwin flew out as well. We had a couple of days with Dennis Irwin there. You know, he's a Manchester United ambassador. High profile, you know, great lad to be around with, very, very keen to help out, and you know, just it's sponsors relations building, that particular one.
Things, yeah. And India,
we went to Bangalore, which was quite interesting. It was, you know, the traffic was absolutely crazy.
It's another world,
the same in Vietnam. It was absolutely crazy. I've never seen so many mopeds in my life. You know, 5 people on one moped, and you know, it's absolutely crazy. Fantastic experience. Security was quite tough there. So the hotels was all bomb squads, and you know, when you get into the hotel and looking at the cars with the mirrors, and so that was sort of an interesting side of it. But you know, we stay in the best hotels, and you know, it's a great experience. Again, we've picked we did coach education there. We did a week's training with kids from 6 different cities, and we had to pick 4 of the players to come to Manchester to play in the World Skills Final. So another sort of very, very satisfying week down there for sure.
Yeah, and these kids are, some of the kids you're picking up, have they been any talent in there? Anyone you'd look at potentially?
Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, a lot of it is sponsored relations. So some of the kids are talented, but they're lacking something because they've not been coached properly. So you're talking 16-year-olds who've never been coached properly. It's very, very, very rare that you find a diamond in the rough that never been coached properly at 16 and is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
So, it's to give them the experience, it's to give them the opportunity to go and express themselves and come to Manchester. A lot of these kids don't even have passports. They've never been out of their own city, never mind all the way to Manchester. So, the sponsors down there who are paying for all of it are doing a fantastic job.
That's good to see that, and it must be a great experience for you, travelling the world and seeing those sites. Yeah,
it's unreal because, in Vietnam, there's 36 million people, 28 million people, they're all football fanatics, 28 million are Manchester United fans.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. We go like, can we fill the stadium with 76,000? There's 28 million fans. Right. So we were treated like film stars, just we wearing the badge and people think God Almighty, if you like, but it's a fantastic experience, and to be able to give something back to the young kids down there, it's really satisfying.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Anything else lined up this year, or?
Not at this moment in time. It comes in within a month or 2 months, especially when working with the sponsors abroad. They say, okay, we want something in a couple of months, and then you get the phone call, and then can you do it? With my job at the moment with Newcastle Town and the academy is fairly flexible, especially when you have the quality of someone like a Martin Foyle or anyone like that, Mark Grew, come in and do a session for you while you're away. It adds to the program too. So
of course it does.
I normally do about 8 weeks a year, 8 or 10 weeks a year, which is perfect, really.
Nice mix then, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and it's just about enough for my wife to say, go on, let's go and do it. She gets frustrated when I send the photos over and it's like the best hotels and lobster for dinner and that sort of stuff, and go, it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. The other side of this was that you had a health scare while you were out in Saudi, didn't you?
Yeah.
You're looking very well now, may I say. What happened there? Because I just saw a tweet that come up and it said Robin van der Laan taken ill. I thought, I saw him a few months ago and he seemed fantastic health. Just talk
yeah,
me through
it's crazy because I'm very active. I'm coaching every day. So when the health scare came, people say, how does that happen to you? And if it happens to you, everybody's in danger. And I had a 1 centimetre blockage in one of the major arteries, unexplained. It was 90% blocked, and it was sort of near fatal at the time. So, once I got rushed in the hospital in the ambulance, and they settled me down, and with modern technology, they put a stent in and they cleared the blockage, and the rest is history. After I've come back, I've had another stent placed, which I knew that needed doing. Wasn't an emergency, but I had one done here in North Staff's Hospital as well, which was fantastic. In and out one day, it was crazy. But yeah, I've been great since. The cardiologist says you're going to be as good as new. You're going to be better than a couple of months ago. And it's proven to be that way. So, I've had a lucky escape, if you like.
Yeah.
So now we can monitor it, and everything's great.
So it's your regular checkups from now on, is it?
Yeah. In all fairness, it's not that regular, but I've got another one, sort of my first checkup since the operation in a couple of weeks' time. But everything's great. So.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Just tell us, if we've got people that want to join the academy, how can they get involved now? You're looking for next year's intake, I guess, now, are you? Yeah,
I mean, the good thing is the first year is always your sort of hardest year with regards to recruitment. Because
same as setting anything up, isn't it?
It really? Is, because, you got to get the word out there. People don't know you're doing it. People don't know what quality you have. There's a lot of sort of competition in that same market. This year we're starting earlier. We're at the back of a good start with our first year's intake. People are talking about it now. The players are extremely happy who are there. they're talking about it to their mates, and you know, good players will know what's going on. We're also at Row Lane. We do all our training there. It's our own site now. You know, it's a 20-acre site, which is our own training ground. We've got games there on Saturdays and Sundays, so people will be aware that, you know, the academy's training from there. So it's a good advertising tool as well. Yeah. So yeah, it's for players that are interested in doing a sports performance, a BTEC, to consider what we're doing. We've got tryouts every half term. We've got this half term coming up on the 26th, Wednesday the 26th. We'll have tryouts. It'll be an 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Training session. We'll do a classroom session so they get an idea of what we're doing in the classroom. The good thing is it's all on one side. So we got a kitchen at the place. We got our dressing room. So, you know, when they do a classroom session, then they'll have lunch. You know, we'll provide the facilities for players to get the lunch prepared in the kitchen. They get changed in the dressing rooms. We do training session. They can have showers after, and it's all on one side. It's a brilliant facility to learn the trade.
Yeah, certainly. So, how do they get in touch? Who do they need to speak to
yeah,
they get on. Trial?
They can get on our website. The information's on our website.
Is that a Newcastle Town website? That one.
It's a Newcastle Town. So the best thing to do is just Google it. It's quite a long web address. Yeah. Just to Google Newcastle Town website and follow the information there. There's a piece on the academy on there. Or they can get in touch with Gavin Appleby, which is the chairman of the youth section at Newcastle Town as well.
Looking for intake next season then? I can see it going through and developing. What's the 5-year plan with it? What's your ultimate goal? Is it groups of 8 to 10 every year, or are you looking to grow that?
Sometimes, you know, the intake is much bigger than you would expect it. So if we can have, say, 10 each year, then we work with a group of 20, because what happens is there's so many units you do within the BTEC course. So year 1 you do 6 units, year 2 you do 7, or the other way around. Then, you know, the second year's intake will do year 2's units and then year 1 after. So they're in one classroom, year 1's and year 2's, with the same course content. But there will be times where, you know, when we grow, where we get 16 or 20 players in 1 year want to come in, and then we, you know, ultimately we want to run 2 groups. With 2 coaches and 2 tutors, and in an ideal world, you know, the site is really up for it. We've got plenty of space, you know, training wise and classroom wise. You know, that's the ultimate goal. You know, we just played Burton Albion the other day at Laan Vale Stadium, and they've got 40 players on the course.
Right.
So you know, we looked at Ilkeston's model, and they've got 50 players on the courses, so they have 3 teams. You know, that would be in the ideal scenario, but you know, Burton Albion, there's nothing in the area.
No, certainly.
We've got a lot
You've
more
got a lot of competition, haven't you? Yeah. There's other non-league clubs.
So it's all about the reputation and the quality. And, you know, Gavin yourself is meticulous in what he does.
Yes.
And, you know, and because we've got small classroom sizes compared to colleges sometimes where, you know, you're well in the 20s. You know, this time we've got 10 in the classroom. Next year's maybe 17, 18, 20 max. So small classroom sizes means a lot better education most of the time.
Okay, we need to go to ads, so we'll play ads and then we'll come back and just talk a bit about Port Vale, if that's okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
6TR, the bright side of Staffordshire.
Come on, Brian, it's your turn to clean up.
Oh, Mum, I don't have the time. Right, I'm going to call Jeeves and Duster.
Jeeves and Duster are a family-run business offering a professional, reliable cleaning service. Whether it's a weekly, monthly or one-off clean required, we can help. Call 01782 856 127. Jeeves and Duster, cleaning with a butler's touch.
Can Brian come out?
No, he's been a very naughty boy.
Hello?
Dave, you sound terrible.
Oh, I lost my voice trying to advertise my business.
Well, you do have something to shout about. Anything I can do to help?
What I really need is something to get me noticed.
How about some new signs then? We used Signs Express for ours and it made the world of difference.
Oh, sounds good. You got their details?
Call Signs Express today and get 10% off your first order if you quote 6 Times Radio. Let our signs do the talking for you. Call 01782 416 930. 01782 416 930.
When you need a van and you've got to go far, we've one that does the job at a Ford Rent-A-Car.
For no insurance excess and no deposit rentals, visit a Ford in Stoke, Stafford and Crewe, or click afford.co.uk.
Call our van up the M6, moving to a new home in the sticks. 7-seater full Scouts, heading to the sea, minibus full of hens and a bride to be.
Call a Ford on Stoke 848 627.
Our name says it all, a Ford Rent-A-Car.
Shelter believes everyone should have a home. The Shelter Shop in Tunstall is looking for a new community shop manager. We are looking for a confident, inspiring, influential, entrepreneurial person with management experience. If you can run a team of volunteers and develop them, engage with customers in the local community to drive sales, Shelter wants to hear from you. For more information about the community shop manager position in Tunstall, visit shelter.org.uk.
Hey up me ducks, it's Johnny Wilkes here.
And Christian Patterson.
Hey, make sure you come and see us at the Regent Theatre in Cinderella on the 8th of December, running all the way through till January the 8th. It's going to be an absolute belter.
And Happy New Year to you all.
Hey up me ducks.
He always says that.
Contact us now by email studio@sixtowns.co.uk.
6TR, broadcasting live from Burslem to the heart of the community.
You're listening to the best local sports show. Boots, Bats and Balls on Six Towns Radio.
You are listening to Boots, Bats and Balls on Six Towns Radio. In the studio we've got Robin van der Laan, who's been telling us all about Newcastle Town's Academy. Fantastic project that is, and looking for second year recruits. If you want to get involved in that, then go to the Newcastle Town website and look at their academy, and you'll find lots of contacts for the likes of Gavin on there to get in touch with. Coming back to Port Vale, Robin, having a good season so far, aren't they?
Yeah, it was interesting because I was invited to do some of the commentary for the Coventry game and the Millwall game. So it was two contrasting games actually. So I watched the Millwall game and they played some excellent stuff. You know, really impressed with the attitude, playing out from the back. You know, sometimes they overplay a little bit, but you know, you can't criticise it too much because the manager obviously said, I want you to play out, you need to play out.
Encouraging them to do that.
Yeah, and sometimes they overplay a little bit, and that was evident in the Coventry game where, you know, too many players had a real off day. I mean, they had a proper nightmare.
Well, Coventry were up for it, weren't they? I mean, they just changed the manager, which is always a big incentive, isn't it?
Yeah, Mark Venus just took over, and you know, I played with Mark when I was at Wolves for a bit, so I know what he's like, and he demands excellence. You know, and they set up really well. They've got three strikers who were pretty quick, strong athletes, and they caused problems. And you know, sometimes it's a banana peel that you know it's going to be a slip up for Port Vale before the game starts, because everything was, you know, favourite for Port Vale to steamroll them, and it was a little bit more the other way around.
I think all the Vale fans I spoke to before the game had said, we're going to lose this one.
Yeah, you know,
that's football, isn't it?
We all know football, and if you go to watch football every week, you know that, you know, that's always on the cards.
Yeah. Talk about the Millwall game then. I mean, that they were impressive against Millwall. I think that was a monkey off the bat from last season because Millwall turned them over at Vale Park, didn't they? Yeah,
it was a very good performance. They played some good football, play out from the back. Goalkeeper likes to get the ball in his feet and play out. You know, I just think that sometimes, you know, people say, oh, we can't play like that because we haven't got the players. But sometimes it's just an attitude. I mean, these are professional players. They can all play football. You know, we all sit there in the stand and say, oh, he's rubbish and he's rubbish and they're professional footballers. They're not rubbish. You know, they can all play. So it's about giving them the confidence to play and working on patterns of play and working on making the angles bigger so you have more time and space on the ball. You know, if you're a little bit more restricted as a player, you need to try and create a little bit more space. So even if you miscontrol a little bit, you're still safe with the ball. Yeah. You know, and it's about the manager saying, hey, guys, you're all good players. You can all play. Trust each other with the ball. Pass it on the safe side. Lead the player when they have space, and all them sort of little messages and confidence boosters, you know, sometimes makes an average player look quite comfortable with the ball because he has options on the ball. If everybody makes the right move at the right time, people can look really comfortable on the ball.
What were your thoughts pre-season when they ditched the manager, they ditched most of the squad, and then Bruno came in with fresh team, fresh players? Everyone was thinking, not sure about this.
It's a lot of people like to jump on, the chairman's back and saying, well, he's not doing this or not doing this. But what wasn't happening is we weren't challenging for promotion.
Mm-hmm.
So keeping things as they were the last few years, we're going to get more of the same.
Yes, yeah.
So he took a risk, potentially. He's obviously had a good chat with Bruno, liked his attitude. Bruno brought 16, 17, 18 players in, a lot of foreigners. Maybe he gambled it as a numbers game. If I bring 16 in, 6 or 7 will pay off, and the other ones might just be released pretty soon. But it's proven that way, where he's had 6 or 7 that come in out of the 16 that are first team regulars and are doing well. Obviously buying from abroad or getting players in from abroad is a little bit less expensive as well. Good English players are very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably done it on a little bit of a budget as well. And at the moment, it's paying off.
Yeah, 4th in the division currently, aren't they?
Yeah.
Big game today against Sheffield United away.
Yeah.
That'll be a big test for them. They won against MK Dons last week, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. But sometimes, after bad results, against Coventry, sometimes players just bounce back like that. And the good thing about football, one bad result and a bad performance, the next game is just around the corner. So it's a chance to put things right.
Something had to give in that game, though, didn't it? I mean, MK Dons haven't won since March at home, so where Vale hadn't won away for a similar time. But they've broken their hoodoo, which is a great confidence booster again for Vale, isn't it? First away win.
Massive. Every manager that comes in, the first thing you want to do is say our home ground is becoming our fortress. If you can put fear in the opposition's minds when they come to Vale Park, and say we're not going to walk away with much here because they don't lose here. It's always a push for every manager. If you can pick up points on the road as well, I think you're in business.
Where do you see Vale towards the end of the season? Do you think they'll maintain where they are, or they had a really bad time at Bury in a difficult situation, wind and rain and a poor pitch. Vale fans said that the team wasn't really prepared for. Obviously, winter's coming. Will that change things?
It's always nice when the weather is good, especially that stigma with foreign players. Do they fancy it in January, February on a Tuesday night? When the rain is slating it down. We'll have to see. It's difficult to predict. I think they got the quality. I think they have the depth in the squad as well. I looked at the match program when I was there, and there's 35 players at the club. They're not not all first team players, but that sort of depth in the squad they haven't had for many years. So I think squad size, they can cope with it. Let's hope they can maintain it, because winning becomes a habit, and sometimes when you're not playing so well, you're still picking up wins because it becomes a habit, the same as losing. So let's keep this run going.
Anthony Grant looked very impressive against MK Dons. Quality player. Seems to be playing below his true standard, I feel. Do you think he might be one that people come after?
He's their main midfield player, there's no doubt about it. You mentioned the game at Bury, he was missing, and the game against Coventry, the 2 worst performances of the year, and he wasn't in the team. When I saw him against Millwall, he dictates the play. He dictates the pace of the game. Very clever, he gets his free kicks and uses his body very well, but he can switch the play. He's decent on the ball and strong and good leader on the pitch. So, he's vital for him to keep him fit.
Yeah, and keep him in the side, isn't it? Yeah.
Keep him in the side. Yeah, I'm sure if he's fit, he'll play. He's too much of an important player, which is quite worrying too. Because if he picks up a long-term injury, suddenly you're relying on your best player to get yourself in the playoffs, and suddenly that chance diminishes when he picks up injuries.
Yeah, looking over the other side of the city, Stoke City. I know you popped down last season. One of the lads was a mascot or a...
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I try to go down a few times a year. It's Premier League football. It's great to see some of them live, especially with the kids. Obviously, I've got 5 kids, so if I can bring them down, it's a good experience to go down and see some Premier League football. But you know, they've started poorly again.
Yeah.
You know, how many times in the last few years, you know, no wins in 5 or no wins in 6, and then they end up 9th. Now that is crazy, but you know, at some stage it can go the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and this time it's 6 or 7 games without a win. 7 games without a win. Massive game against Sunderland today. You know, this is you know, trying to put some daylight between them and Sunderland, really, because Sunderland haven't won either. So it's a 6-pointer. You know, it's a must-win today.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And again, that win should spur on. Again, you're assuming it's going to happen, but whichever team gets the result today, that would obviously enhance their chances and, you know, give them confidence.
I think supporters and managers all around the country, they're scratching their heads and they're looking at the squad, and you know, they brought in 2 good players. Boney's not settled in as well, and some rumours about him, you know, with regards to not pulling his weight, and you know, Laan is a great pro, good player. So you know, on paper, 2 great players coming into a squad that was a 9th in the table squad. You know, they retained the players, so you would think that they will pick up and come in with 3 wins in a row or something like that to ease the pressure. But everybody's got to be feeling it. You know, Mark Hughes is a very experienced manager, but he's no fool. You know, he's going to look at it and go, no wins in 7. If we don't beat Sunderland, you know, we could be in trouble, because it's that losing habit again. I mean, they were winning the last game, and then last second they conceded a goal. You know, that is a losing habit. You know, losing points in final seconds rather than gaining points in the final seconds. So, you know, they are no illusions that they're not. They know they're in trouble, and they need a little run, and they need to run quickly.
Yes, yeah. Okay, Robin, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate you coming in. If you want to pop in around about December and maybe bring a couple of academy lads in, just to let them know let listeners know how they are finding it. If they've got the confidence, then bring them in, mate.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for having us.
We'll see you again soon.
All right, cheers.
6TR, the bright side of Staffordshire.